So we are in the first page of Tableau. So in the last class I have explained you the overview, architecture and the evolution of
Hi
Tableau.
Shashi,
Hi.
you guys just started?
No, just started. We will.
Okay.
Yeah. So here this is the start page of Tableau when you install the software. And here we have three panes. So one is the left, middle and the right one. The left one you could see this, there is a connect. So the connect, basically this is a desktop uh, which is a tool for developing the dashboard. So what all we can do it from Tableau desktop. So you can develop a workbook. The workbook is called as dashboard. And then you can create a data extract. So whatever I told, right, the data we can compress into 80 to 90%. Those data extract we can create from here. And data source we can create from here. Data source means, so connecting to any data source with your credentials and the data. So both credentials and then the server configurations with the port number, and you will have the data for it. So these three files you can create from desktop. So now here in the connect, so you can connect to, so what are all options you can connect? You can connect to any database servers, any database, and you can connect to Tableau server. So when it comes to the server, you can connect to Tableau server and you can connect to any databases available here. In last 10.1, they have given an option of Cognitio and so this Google Sheets and one more they are given, QuickBooks Online. These three latest they have given option. We have to wait and see for 10.2 what are all the additions we are going to get. So other than that, when you see the RDBMS like SAP, SAP, ASC, Adaptive Server Enterprise, and we can see this Oracle and MySQL, Microsoft SQL Server, and IBM DB2, right? And the cloud related databases like Google Analytics and Amazon Redshift. So these are all we can connect, provided you should have the drivers installed and the server name and the port number, and if you have the credentials you can connect automatically. And a Tableau server, so this is your Tableau server. So suppose for example in your Tableau server you have already the TDEs and the TDSX are loaded, published by your previous developers, architects. So that you have to download to your machine and you can start working on the preparing the workbooks on in addition. So it is also having a provisions to connect to Tableau server. So this is all related with the server to a file. Next. So not only to the databases, still you can even connect to the files. Files in the sense Excel, text tab separated files, CSVs, or so here if you could see this, there is no access, Microsoft Access. When you install Microsoft Office, MS Office, so there is an Access database will be installed along with that. That Access database, you can create your own small database in your system. So that earlier it would be ACCDB, now it would be the MDB files. Yeah, it's an MDB files. No, it's a vice versa. Earlier it was MDB files, now it is ACCDB files. So both it will allow you to connect. And any statistical files. So though you are developing the dashboards, so but still the statistical part, for example, I wanted to prepare some correlation, covariance, coefficients. So like this, some of the functions, statistical functions, I cannot directly do it from Tableau. So I can download the file and make use of the OR files. So either I can use the OR files as is, suppose that OR files is providing some of the inputs to me, so that I can use it here, or I can integrate the OR with Tableau. So that is a separate class, I'll be taking you that. So either it is a or it is a SAS. So because when it comes to the statistical reporting tool, there are three tools which are popular now in the market. One is SAS, the second one is R, and the third one is Python. So all three can be connected to the Tableau. And so the statistical file, right? And the saved data source here. So as I told you in the last class, when you install, there is a repository location is there. In documents, my Tableau repository, you can see there is a documents, my Tableau repository. You can see there are subfolders. In that there is a data source. So in this data source, you can know that which version of Tableau you downloaded and what is the locale, so language you are installing, and then in this whatever the data source available which is placed, even you can save it, store it. So that data source will be shown here. That is called a saved data source. Whatever it may be, not only the data source, suppose I am creating a bookmark. Bookmark in the sense some options I need to keep it as a favorite, as a bookmark, so that it would be restored whenever I wanted or referred whenever I wanted. So that time I will be creating a bookmark. Normally we used to read in the web. So some pages I wanted to click as favorites. So similarly the bookmarks also. Suppose the particular user, he wanted some of the selections which needs to be saved and keep it as a bookmark so that he wanted to refer some audit related things. So only 3 months once he wanted to refer that selections. So what he will do, he will be adding that in the bookmarks. So if you are creating a bookmarks and that bookmarks will be stored as TPM. So if you are storing that bookmarks in this repository location, so these bookmarks will be available all through all of your workbooks in your local machine. So that we'll see later. So why I am showing that the significance of the repository location subfolders. So when I store a data source in the data source subfolder of your repository location, so that particular data source is called as saved data source. So you can connect any one of this and bring your tables. Right? So bring your tables. And the middle one, so which is the file recent list. So whichever the application, not only the BA reports, so any application which you developed, also when you could see this, so there are some recent file access list will be there, right? So it depends. Sometimes in the menu also it will be there, and in the start page also it is there. So this is called as start page, and similarly here this is called as your menu. So the file recent list available in the menu, available on the start page. So available on the menu, last 9 files which will be available. Here based on the size, the space we do have, so around 18 files is available. Is nothing much. So just very frequently used files will be there available in your file recent list. And you can all of a sudden you can go select that and view that. If you don't want that particular workbook to be shown, in that means you can go here, hover on that particular workbook, you can see there are 2 icons. One is a pin, the other one is a cross. So if you click on this, it will remove that workbook from the file recent list. Or suppose sometimes I wanted to bring some of the workbooks which is not there in the priority. So I can click on that. Suppose for example, if I pin this, it is there on the 9th position. If I click on pin, so this would be moved to little before position. See now I think it has come here. So now suppose if I move this, you can see here this 9 has come here. So if I click on pin, what happened? That particular workbook would be there in the priority list of your recent list. It would be pushed. Right? Suppose it is already there in the priority list, it is pushed back. Okay. So that is the use of your pin. Or if you don't want to show that, so you can just click on this so that the next will be there displayed. And you can see there is a sample workbooks. So the sample workbooks which comes along with the installation. There are 3 sample books are there available that you can refer anytime. So what are all the practices they adopted and how they created the workbook or how they created the user stories. Those options available, you can refer back for any of the logics or any of the standard practices how they adapted. And the right side you can see there is a discover. This is completely the links available for your Tableau. So the online tutorials link which is been small 2 minutes video, 1 minute video provided by the Tableau will be there. The link will be available. And visualization of the week. So every 1 week, 2 week, there will be one visualization of the week will be there. So there, if you are clicking that, it will take you to the Tableau public. So as I told you, Tableau public in the last class. So it is again a software, but it is a freeware, but you cannot save your executables, your workbook in your local. You have to save that in the cloud similarly. So whoever, suppose a particular architect who develops this workbook, so he saves that in the web. So when you click this, automatically it will take you to the web. So that particular visualization of the workbook, if you click, it will be taking you to the public, Tableau public. So there you can go and view it. So the particular workbook, this is the workbook. You see Tableau public. So you keep that particular workbook in the public. Right. So now when you go and see this, so here there is an option available. So whether you can able to download the workbook or only as a PDF. Most of the workbooks, they will give you as a PDF workbook also. One minute. Yeah, most of the workbook, they will give you a download option. And you see when you download, so it only PDF. So suppose the Tableau workbook, so this I think they have not given an option to download as a workbook, only PDF and image. Give me a minute. So PDF or the image. So most of the workbooks will be available as a Tableau workbook. So you can download that and again you can refer. So this you can download. But whatever they developed this dashboard using the Tableau public, so that they kept it in the cloud for referral purpose. Okay, so that is your visualization of the week. And resources. So basically there is a community for every languages. So here also we do have community. You have to register and log in with your credentials, and there will be a lot of discussions going on. Right, a lot of discussion on both the blog and the forums. Forums is the one, the community I am talking about. So there are a lot of discussions. Suppose if you are stuck with some practical challenges, difficulties, then you can post your query over there. So the architects who ever come across your questions, so they will answer. And you can also view some of the means solved problems, solved cases, and you can check with them. So or some of the documents will be available there online. So for that we have the link here. And there is one more called as Tableau conference. So every year in November there will be a Tableau conference held. So last year also it was held between November 4 to 8. So in that only the Tableau 10.2 new versions features, so they were explaining. So that link, now this is for Tableau conference 2017, probably in the November 1st or 2nd week it's going to happen. And the next one is update to 10.1 or 10.2. If you download 10.1, you will have the link for Tableau 10.2 beta. Right, probably next month you will be, before completing the class, we will have the Tableau 10.2. And you can upgrade with the same license code, whatever you are asking, right? If you get a license code for 1 year, that was for 10.1, you can still upgrade your 10.2 with the same license codes. So there is no difficulties over there. Okay, so this is what your start page of the Tableau. Now, when you connect, so initially, let me take our XML file, and then once you are confident with that, then we'll go into the database. So when I connect to the Excel, so there is one Tableau Superstore, sample Superstore is there. So you can connect to this. So once I connected, automatically it will take me to the data source page. Data source page. So this is the one where you can derive your model. Model in the sense, as you know, this is a dimensional modeling. Normally in the RDBMS, we do have relational modeling. Here in the BI reporting tools, whatever the model, the data model is dimensional model. Because here we see the tables into two types of tables. One is fact, the second one is dimension. So what is fact? So you all know fact is a transaction table. So one is fact, the second one is dimension table. So the fact is a transaction table and dimension is a master table. Normally in your model, one or two maximum two, one or two fact tables you are allowed to pick. And dimensions, you can take n number of dimensions. There is no questions in that. So the fact and dimensions I explained in the last class, still I will explain you. So for every domain, every project, every application, definitely there will be one or two transaction tables will be there. Either it is a sales, insurance, banking, employee, HRMS. So wherever you go, you can find there is a transaction table there. And in that transaction tables, you can see some of the code columns, because that is as per the normalization. So they built that way. The code will be there because they cannot dump all the columns in one table. So keep one code column and relevant references they will be keeping in the another table. That table is called as your dimension. Suppose I have a department for your employee, the department code will be there. The descriptions related to the department will be there in the department master table. And designation master table. If you go for a sales, I book this product, I have an order. This order number refers to some other product. So the product code will be here. The product description will not be there. That product description separately there in my product master table. And the unit of measurement, if it is in square feet, or it is a running meter, or it is a numbers, cases, eaches, packs. So those details will be there in your unit of measurement master, dimension master. So it is how it's classified. So when you connect to the database, so you may work with multiple tables, not only one table. So, but that tables are classified into only two, fact, dimension, right? The fact is called as your transaction and dimension is called as your master table, and ensure that you will not have more than two facts, right? One or two facts will be there. Dimensions, you can have number of dimensions. So now coming, every table you have multiple fields, and that fields you are going to look into two types of fields. So one is dimension and the other one is, this dimension is table. And coming to the fields, again that is a dimensions and measures. Dimensions and measures. So this is like a transaction table in the master table and the dimension and the measures. So the dimensions is a static value, a quantitative value. So what do you mean by quantitative? Suppose in my table, so I have a column product. So that product, maybe 10 products will be there, 20 products are there, 100 products will be there, right? It is a static. Product 1, product 2, product 3. It is static. And if I go for an employee, employee 1, employee 2, employee 3. If I go for a country, country 1, country 2, country 3. So it is fixed and it is a static. And today this country 1, tomorrow it may not be country 1, 2, 3. It may not be. So it is a qualitative value. And when it comes to the measures, it is a quantitative. For example, I pick this order, that order value may be $100.55. And another order I pick, it may be $100.49. And the third order I pick, it is $299.75. So it is a quantitative value, the value, right? So that is called as your measures, right? So there are fields of two types. One is dimension, that is a qualitative value, static, and measure, which is a quantitative value. So here, so these are all the two types of fields. So now when I connect to the data source, I can see how many tables. If you are connecting to the Excel, so Excel normally, you know, sheet 1, sheet 2, sheet 3, will be there. So each and every sheet, if you are populating with some data, so each and every sheet is considered as a individual tables for you. So now in the sample superstore Excel, I have orders, people and returns, 3 sheets populated with the data, and 3 sheets are considered as, for me, 3 individual tables. Just drag here in this canvas. So in the left side, you can see what is this connection data source and how many tables are there. And if you wanted to add more tables, you can add here, clicking on this. That also I will show you. So now I drag this table here in my canvas, and for that particular table, how many fields are there, what all the data are available for that table will be shown here in this grid, right? In this grid display it would be shown. And one more thing, so there are 6 data types we have. So number, date, string, boolean. So as such, in the number I have whole number and decimal, and the date I have date and date time. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 data types we have. Number as a whole. When this whole will come, suppose the sequence numbers, order number 10,000, 1, 2, 10,003, 5, 10, or I am taking a zip code 50075. So like whole numbers. So these are all called as number whole. And number decimal, I have a sales value 100.55. I have an incentive 25.75. I have a commission, so 15.11, right? Quantity 7.5. So these are all called as your number decimal, right? So, and date, when I go for MMDD YYY format or DD YYY format, I pick a date. So 0 to 20 2017. So it's a MMDD YYY format, date. And there is a date time, hour, minute, seconds also will be there. It is of this hour, 6 o'clock, 30 minutes and 29 seconds. So like this also. So 2 types we have. One is date, the other one is a date and time. And there is a string that you know, the name, product name, employee name, city, country. So all this are customer name, all these are strings. And comes to the boolean, it will have yes, no or true, false. So these are all the 6 data types we have. And I wanted to provide some icons for this to identify easily, right? So now whole number, I will give hash curve. So for decimal also I will give hash because both are number, I will give hash. And the date, I will give one calendar. And for the time, the calendar will be there, and below I will give one small clock because this time is also included, right? So I will give a time, small clock also. With this calendar, I give a small clock. And for the string, I give ABC, A caps. And boolean, T, pipe, F. Either T or F. So this is the way I provide an icon. Okay. So this is for data type. So when you pull in the tables for you, all the fields are displayed, and all the fields, each and every field, what is the data type? You can see here. As I told you, if I give an hash, this is number whole or number decimal. It's a number. When it comes to the string, this is ABC, A caps. So you can understand, okay, order ID is my string, row ID is my number, and date. So this is a calendar. And here there will be orange colored, there is one small clock. If it is there, then it is a date and time. This is also date. This is string. This is string. This is string. This is string. And this is, what is this, globe? So there is. So here also globe. You note this field name, country, globe, city, globe, state, globe, postal code, globe. Fine. Not a problem. And comes to this region, ABC. It means it is a string. Product ID, ABC. It means it is a string. Right? So now I am coming here. Then this is sales. I have an hash. This is quantity. I have an hash. Discount. I have an hash. So, but maybe you would have pointed. So what is this? This is also hash and this is also hash. Right? So this is number and this is number. But I see here this is a blue color and this is green in color, right? These are all green in color. So this is because, so the number whole which is blue in color, the number whole which is, though it is an hash, but still it's blue in color, and number decimal, it is hash, but it is green in color. So why that is blue and green, I will explain you. So along with this, what is this globe? You will be surprised. So there is one more field type that is called as geocoded field. Every Tableau versions, now 10.1, so it investigates, because as I told you, Tableau is one of the best intelligence reporting tool to display, map your charts in a map, because here extensively we have two types of maps. We have field and symbol maps. Normally, to plot a map for your chart, we need latitude and longitude. Suppose any positions in a map, if you see a globe, if you put a point for any one particular location, that particular locations, what is the latitude and what is the longitude, which is most important to specify a location in a map. So here also we work accordingly. So maybe they started initially with some limited locations with their latitude and longitude, because every Tableau software installation comes along with the geocoded table installed, because it is having some already predefined libraries with it. So it comes along with this in these libraries. So your latitude and longitude by default generated for the postal codes, right? And every version they will upgrade themselves. They are not idle. Okay, my exercise is done, so it is enough. They are not holding as such. Every new versions, they are coming with new locations, because they grow into the granular level. So even 10.1 also come along with 250,000 of postal codes, right? Suppose higher level they might have gone, suppose some 10,000 postal codes they would have taken in the earlier versions. Then the next version again still they are not quite, because every 1 year they have a release. So they go for still more granular level of your postal codes they take, right? And so for that postal code, what is your latitude and longitude? So they add in your geocoded tables. So and they specify, if your field of your data set is having these names, then those fields are internally considered as a geocoded fields. They derive a option. For example, if your field is a country, if your field is a city, if your field is a postal code zip code, if your field is a county, if your field is a state, so these kind of fields might be of any data type, either string or a number code. String means your city, country, region, and your county, all will be string, correct? And when you go to the zip code, postal code, it will be a number code, right? So even alphanumeric also might be there. So these are all the fields. But internally might be externally default. It may be a string or the number code, but internally it is mapped to geocoded fields. For that option only, this looks like a globe. So how you say that? So now if you go here and click on this, it says 6 data types. When you click on the icon, it is of 6 data types: number decimal, number code, date and time, date, string, boolean. So here, as you know that, what is it? This is your ship ABC. It means it is a string. So string default. And you see there is a geography code. If I go here, these are all the field names in your data set if it has. Then internally it is mapped to geocoded fields. If your field is having city, name, or country, region, or county, or state, province, or zip codes, right? And area codes. If that is a scenario, by default it is internally mapped to geocoded fields. No need to worry about that. Geocoded fields means these are all the fields by default is used to prepare your maps very easily. If you drag these fields, by default for these fields, what is the latitude and longitude would be generated automatically. It's a country. So city, New York. So New York For that particular location, we do have a latitude and longitude. That would be default generated. California, so default generated, right? Wisconsin, default generated, right? And still you wanted to go with the county level or district level, or if you wanted to go with the some city level. So for that particular city, what is the latitude and longitude? It is by default generated. So that plots in your map. So that we'll see later. So these are all related to your data types. There are 6 data types, and internally we have one more called as geocoded fields. So if your data set of any of these field names, though it is of string or it is a number whole, internally it is mapped to geocoded fields. That signifies, on seeing the icon itself we can understand, oh okay, so it is your geocoded field. On seeing this icon, because these are all string, if you click on this, you see this is a string, because this is your country, United States, means it is a string. It should be supposed to be ABC. Why it was not ABC? Because it is string and default, but internally it is mapped to your country. So your globe is shown here, so no need to worry about that. So this is all related to the data type. And can I able to convert from one data type to another data type? The answer is yes. Because here, so now for in your mind what are all the things should run. So I need to connect to the database. So sometimes, so there are several options will be there. You are joining a company. So if you are working for a new project, new workbook, so then what will happen? So you should get what is the credentials for me? What is the database server? What is the credentials for me? Where is that server? Server name is, it is been referred by the name or by the IP address. And you should take the port number for that particular database. Or any other data sources you have, right? So either you do have any TDEs already developed, that I need to connect. So these are all the options you need to look for first. So once you got that, so now some of the clients, they say that, so you connect to this database. So now after that, so you should pick some 10 tables. They would have written in the BRD very clearly. So in that, so this is your fact and these are all your dimensions. They say very clearly. Some client, so whoever going to provide you the work, if he is technically sound, so he will prepare the BRD in such a way, business requirement document, BRD. So in that BRD, it will be very clearly explained. In this database, these are all the tables you are going to pick. This table is your fact and rest all your dimensions. And here this particular columns would be used. So you should be picked up. So that also they will explain. Some clients, so they don't know about Tableau. So but some of them they recommended. So Tableau is a very good business intelligence reporting tool. You can develop dashboards. So but still before that, so they have an application running. So it means they have a database, they have a client server applications, and they do have technical architect, but they don't have any clue on Tableau. But they know the business well, functionality of their application and the database also they know very well. So you have to get into that, come up with some, understand the business. You have to prepare your POCs and the dashboards. And once you start providing the demo, they come, then they start thinking, oh, okay. So it will, first you have to show them your dashboard will look like this. So once they understand that, then they start giving the requirement. Okay, can you change this? Can you add this? So I want such analysis. So after that, they open up. So that also, that kind of clients also available. So either way you have to handle. Or sometimes if you join, already everything is established. So dashboards are there. So you have to do some change, modifications, updates in your current dashboards. Means in that scenario, for your initial stage, it will be easier also for you, because already you do have a data source, already the TWBX, everything is available. You know the infrastructure. So slowly it will be, you will be learning. Okay. So you will download your workbook and you can open up. So how the codes they used and how many sheets they used and what are all the fields they used, and these are all the learning curve for you. And you can do changes slowly. small changes once you do, and after that you can pick some complicated changes, and then you can get ready for your new dashboard. Once you know your database, your environment well, then you can start developing the dashboards very easily. If you know data model very well, if you know the functionality business very well, it doesn't take more than 1 day for you to develop. Not even 1 day, 3-4 hours will not be taking more for you to develop a dashboard. So that much easy Tableau workbook is. That much easy in the sense why I am saying it is mostly into the drag and drop. So you don't want to refer back with any of the programming language. ClickView and all, it's like a programming 90s programming language designing options being inbuilt in that. So for every tabs you have, go to each and every tabs to change the properties of your objects. So it is not a drag and drop. So like this, lot of things are there. Here it is not the case. You can drag and drop, and it is very easy to develop the dashboard. Okay, so now this data type. So now the next one, can I change from one data type to another type? Yes. So any complicated process you are going to follow? No. So suppose if it is the string, if I select this, automatically that would be changed. I'll show an example for that also. And when you click on this icon, it shows the data type and the geographic role, only that. And here, when you go to the right hand side, we have several options available. And before that, so there are three options. The first one is your icon, and the second one from the table from where this particular field from, and what is the field name. If you want to rename this field, so I can go click on this, or so no need to, if you feel that no, why should I go there, if I double click on this, here also you can edit this. So either you can go rename or double click on this and rename if you want to rename your field. And I wanted to copy, suppose for example this order I want to copy, click on this. So go here, copy values, and I wanted to store somewhere, so you can store, Control V. So this storing you can do it anywhere, text tab, text file, or in your Excel file, or in your document file. So you can store, copy values and save, and paste somewhere else and store, right? So this is your copy values. Hide. So this is one of the most important option which we have to do it in the data source level. So when you connect to the tables, you brought some fields from the table. So now you thought that okay, this field is not required, but by mistakenly I brought it from there, or maybe it may not be required at present. Maybe in future it may be required. For example, I have taken approved date. Approved date is not required. So maybe in future, if some requirement comes, I wanted to see my created date and approved date should not exceed 3 days. So I wanted to ensure my orders which has been created should be approved within the 3 days or 2 days. So such kind of logic if they try to implement, that time my approved date would be used. Or they go with the orders picked based on the approved date, not on the created date, then my approved date is required. But now currently I am going with the created date. So approved date I am not using in any of my worksheets. So then what I do? So again let me go connect and delete that and come back, not required. You can hide. It is a column level reduction. There are two options you have whenever you take a data set. So one is your row level reduction. Suppose I am taking a sheet. So your data set will be like this. Means if you see in the grid writing a query, you can see your data set will be like this, right? So this one. Suppose when I reduce by my column, so this is what your column level reduction, and I have 10 rows. Suppose I reduce this 2 rows, then this is called as row level reduction. So for every data set, I wanted to reduce by row or I wanted to reduce by column. So two options are there. So both options will reduce your data size, because this is a inline memory. Our objective is that how far I can able to reduce my data set occupying the memory, that much I will be improvising my performance of the dashboard. So this hide will hide your column. It's in fact it is a column level reduction. Suppose I feel this particular field is not required at the moment or not at all required. Two options are not required at the moment, maybe in future it is required, or not at all required. In this scenario, if you are very sure, so while bringing itself you can remove that and bring it. Or sometimes I have a practice select star from. So all the fields in my table has come here. Now all the fields I am not going to use. So what I should do? So let me go hide that. This column is not required. Hide. So what is the use of hiding that? If you hide that particular column, that column will not occupy your memory. You will not occupy your memory. For example, this ship mode. I go hide this. So it is not there. Now tomorrow, so now you developed it and I publish this. Tomorrow there is an optimization comes to you. Then now you want to check whether Sashi used any hidden fields or not in my data set. So to see this, click on this show hidden fields. If I click, I can see whatever the fields are hidden will be shown. Now this field will not occupy my memory, but just I am seeing Sashi used any hidden fields in the project or not. Maybe tomorrow there is some change request you are working on. They say that so you have to use ship mode. So then I'm seeing here in my data set it is not there. You will be surprised. So I should go connect to the database and bring in. First, before connecting to the database and bringing in, please ensure whether there is any hidden fields are there. So click on this. How to check? So click on hidden fields. Then you see, oh okay, it is there. So I cannot use the hidden field as is. You have to make that and hide. Then only you can use. Because this hide fields will not occupy your memory, I said. If it is not occupying your memory, you cannot use in your workbook. You have to make that and hide and make that occupy your memory. Then you can bring for your display. So how to make and hide? So you can go here, just and hide. You see the color of the font. It's this and this. There is a difference, correct? So this is bold and this is a gray color. So now when I go here and hide, automatically this will be used. It will be bold and this occupies your memory and you can use of this field in your dashboard. So when it is not required at the moment, you can hide that. It's a kind of column level reduction. It should not occupy your memory. Suppose I have 20 fields which is occupying 20 MB of your RAM. So this field which if I hide, it will occupy 19 MB of my RAM. So it is always each and every KBs, each and every 100 KBs will be helpful in improvising your performance. Okay, so your objective is that so whichever the fields are not used in my dashboard, so so why unnecessarily it has to occupy the space. So hide that from the data source level, right? So this is called as your column level reduction. And the next one is, so there is a create calculated field, create group. So here before 10 till 9.3, so now 10.0, 10.1, 10.2, before that it was 9.1, 9.2, 9.3. Till 9.3 in the data source level you can create calculated field only. What is this calculated field? Normally we do computed field, right? So suppose for example I have only quantity. So here I have quantity and discount only there, quantity and discount. So if I have a unit price, so I can create a sales value. Suppose the selling price of the particular product is there, so I can create quantity into unit price minus discount. You can use it and create a sales value. So such calculations I can do it in the calculated field. Or suppose I wanted to apply some formula. So this is also formula. Suppose I wanted to apply some ratios. So this is 0.8 into this or 1.25 times of this. Or I wanted to go for some other formulas I wanted to apply. So these are all you can achieve it through calculated field. This calculated field is available in the visualization page and in the data source. If I wanted to prepare that at the data level, you can do it, right? But once you are very clear with the data set, then you can apply the calculated field in the data source level, or else the same calculated field, I can use it in my visualization page also. But now from 10.0, as I told you, from till 9.3, we were having only create calculated field. But from 10.0 onwards, you can create a group also, you can create a bin also in the data source level. So now when I see here, I can see there is a create group and create calculated field. So what I was saying about bin. So the bin basically for only the numbers, whether it is a number whole or it is a number decimal. For them only we can create a bin because it is a bucket, SQL bucket we used to call this as. So suppose I have a random value. So I want to see 0 to 100, how much is this? So suppose my student marks are there. I want to see till 45, 0 to 45, how many students? Or 45 to 75, or 45 to 60, second class, and 60 and above, first class, or 80 and above, distinction. So this kind of range, this is called as bin we used to say. Static bin, dynamic bin. So static bin in the sense 0 to 10, 10 to 20, 20 to 30, 30 to 40, the regular intervals. The dynamic bin means 0 to 45, 45 to 59, 60 to 75, 75 and above. So it is dynamic. The intervals are not same. Regular intervals is not there. Right? So these are all called as bin. In turn, it is called as SQL buckets. So that we can apply only for the numbers. Either it is a number decimal and number whole. When you go here, the row ID, when you click on this, you see here there is a bin. Calculated field, group and bin. And when I go here, this side, the right hand side, and see this, there is a bin. But when I take this string, so here there will not be bin. Only group will be there and calculated field will be there. So only for the number, either it is a whole or it is a decimal, there is a bin option available. So you can create a bin in the data source level. Right? So that we'll try later. So I will explain the bin, what is bin in your visualization. Then again when we come to the data source, that time we will create a bin. And calculated field also the similar way. And group. So grouping your dimensions, members. There are some terms we need to use it, practice it. So accustom with that terms. For example, so normally the developers who works in the database, for them this is a column. Right? So now we start calling this as a field. Field and column is one and the same. This is field. And as I told you, there are two types of fields. One is dimension and the other one is a measure. So suppose I have a dimension. For example, it's a product. In that product field, it is in turn a dimension. In that I have granite, marble, mosaic, table tiles. So these are all the distinct values for the dimension field. Here we have a term called as member, dimension, member. For the product field, dimension, that individual values are called as members. Suppose I group a members within my field, then that is called as group. For example, suppose I have a employee names. 100 employees are there. So it starts with, suppose here itself. So now I have Sana, Sahid, Syed, Talal and Hena. So now suppose I wanted to group this. Like student starts with name A, name S, name T, name H. So I can bring. So now student is a field. In that student I have 5 members. Right? 5 members. So Syed, Sahid, Sana, Hena and we have Talal. So 5 distinct members. So now suppose Syed, Sana and Sahid will go in, student name starts with S and Talal will go with T and Hena will go with H. So this is group. For a field, for my members, I create a group. Right? The customer starts with A, or not only that is one example I am saying. Suppose I go with some distinct values. Suppose I have subcategories. So small sales I put together into one group. Right? So I have metrics, 40 metrics are there. So 2-3 metrics I put it into one pillar. So that pillar is called as my group. So that group, so calculated field applying some formulas, and bin, it is only for your number, either whole or the decimal. It's called as SQL bucket. And the group for your dimension field in your members, I create a group. So these three, or you can do it in the data source level, but I'll explain you in the visualization, then you can come here and create this. Right? And there is one more option called describe. So when you click on this, it says it is discrete dimension and it's a database column. It's from this table orders dot region and it's a valid one. It's a case insensitive. Right? So this discrete dimension, as I told you, there are two fields. One is your dimension and another one is your measure. So now this is your region. It says it is a dimension. When you go to the discount and see this discrete, it says it is a measure. Right? So, and continuous. So what is this discrete and continuous? I will explain you in tomorrow's class, discrete and continuous. Now, before closing, I wanted to explain you what is dimension and measures. So here I told you there are two types of fields. We have dimension and measures. So the dimension is, again, it's a qualitative, a static name, and measures, which is a quantitative. Right. Out of my 6 data types, my interpreter, my Tableau data interpreter knows I have only 6 fields. So how? Suppose in your database you are taking the character 25, character 45, or number 10,2, or number 8,4. So it doesn't care all those things. On seeing the values, it itself classifies. Right? If I see sigma as an employee name, so employee name is a field. Oh, I see sigma. It's a string. So it puts ABC. Right? So it puts ABC. And if I go and see the date, so it says 02/20/2017. Okay, it is date. So it puts. And there if it is a 09:10:, and 22. Oh, it's at hour minutes also there. Put it into date time. So your interpreter classifies accordingly. And in these 6 data types, it automatically classifies. Your data interpreter classifies automatically. And it gives an icon also. As I told you, 6 icons. And one thing I told you, right? So in number whole, it would be the blue, and number decimal, which is gray. So this is your key point. So out of my 6 data types, the 5 data types are classified into dimension. What are all they? Your number whole, string, your boolean, and date and date time. All these 5 data types are classified as dimensions. And only one, which is green in color, the number decimal, which is the measure. So very straightforward. So whatever the data types you are bringing in, for Excel sheet I didn't give data type also 100.11. It knows. On seeing the value 100.11, okay, it is a number decimal. The interpreter will play its vital role there. It classifies on seeing the field its data type, and it classifies into the respective 6 data types. And in that 6 data types, my first 5 data type, number whole, string, boolean, date and data type. It is 5 data types as dimensions, and the 6th one, which is the number decimal, which is into measures, and I give a color. All 5 will be blue and number decimal will be green. And this color is not only for your dimension and measures, that is for your discrete and continuous. If it is a discrete, it is blue. Your continuous, it is measure. Obviously, your dimension will be always discrete. Your measure will be continuous. That's why it is green and blue. But still you can swap. You can change from discrete to continuous, continuous to discrete. That way. So now your takeaway is, so when I connect to the database, I need to bring in tables. That may be one tables, that may be multiple tables. But my perception, I will be looking those tables into 2 types. One is fact, the other one is dimension. What is fact? It is a transaction table. What is dimension? It is a master tables. So how many facts I can bring in? 1 or maximum 2. That's all. Dimensions, there is no limitations. Fine. So in a table we have fields. So I see that field has two types. One is dimension, the other one is a measure. My Tableau classifies into 6 data types. There in the database, whatever the type you use LOB, blob, whatever it may be. Blob and all we are not using. Image files we are not using. No, there is a character or a string or that is a varchar. No worries. So here it takes based on the value. Only 6 types. No, in my DB2 it is like this. In my Oracle it is like this. In my SQL Server it is like this. No need to worry. That is varchar to 32. Here it is varchar to 64. No need to worry about all those things. It is CHR. It is STR. No need to worry about all the things. On seeing the value of the particular field, so it classifies into 6 data types by default. That 6 data types are, so the first data type, it will be taking it as a dimension, and the number decimal it will take you to the measure. It automatically does. Suppose sometimes I say that number whole, it is there in my dimension, I wanted this to be measured. There also the option is there. It is classified into that. Can I not able to change? You can do changes. I can convert a discrete to the continuous. I can convert a continuous to the discrete. I can convert the dimension to the measure. I can convert the measure to the dimension if your requirement expects from you. You can do that. But initial level of screening, your interpreter classifies your fields into the dimension and measure based on the data type. The data type also, it determines on seeing the values of your particular field. In addition, on seeing the field name, so when it says city, country, region, county, district or postal code, area code, etc., whatever may be the data type, it may be a string or your number whole, internally it classifies into geocoded fields, because every Tableau installation comes along with the latitude and longitude generated libraries, and there is a geocoded fields. So every time, if you could see this Tableau 10.1, what is the new features, there will be a line written 250,000 of postal codes be integrated along with this version. Now in the 10.2, once it comes, I will show you that. So every versions, they keep upgrading themselves, they keep updating their geocoded tables. Okay. So that is the one thing. And here, so I can do a column level reduction. How? I told you that, hiding that. So hiding that will not occupy the memory. So maybe in future, at the moment it is not required. Maybe in future it is required. So suppose if you get to work on the any maintenance projects, your architect or your technical manager says that, so can you have this requirement? So in that requirement, you are looking into that field, you are seeing this data set. When I come and see here, I didn't see that. So why? Because it is a already developed dashboard. I am not seeing this field, and he is asking me to, maybe I need to add, connect to the database. So before checking with them, so go here and click on the show hidden fields and see whether my previous developer has hidden some of the fields in my data set. So that is a fair practice. You can do that when you work on the development projects. So then you can automatically see that color of the field will be gray in color, and you can go here and hide and unhide, and you can make that color black bold, and you can make use of the field in your dashboard. It start occupying the memory. It is in turn called as column level reduction. So then the next question will come, how we will do the row level reduction. So row level reduction is this filters add, that we'll see in the next class. So in addition, so you can do rename, copy values, hide, and as I told you, calculated field, group, and the bin. Bin is only for your number, whole and decimal, and group is for your dimension, members. So these terms you should start using them. The column means, why I am not saying column, because here we have a column shows, because the dimension itself, some of the students will confuse. Dimension is a table or your field. So dimension is also a table, master table, and dimension is also a field. So here the dimension field is for 5 data types. So the basics you should be very clear. You should not get into any of the confusions, because this is what the base for your business intelligence and reporting tool before you go to the design of your dashboards. Okay, so we'll stop here. So on the describe, when you see here it is discrete dimension, The dimension is the field and discrete is its nature, attitude. Right? That is what. So the dimension always it is discrete. Nobody is denying it. 99%. That 1%. Why? Because I can change my dimension from discrete to continuous. So then what will happen? This color will change. It will be a dimension only. If it is changed from discrete to continuous, this color will change to green. So then you cannot argue, Sashi, this dimension is always blue in color. I am not saying it is not, but 99% only. It is because of not only the dimension, because of discrete it is blue in color. What is discrete? Discrete is qualitative. Right? Discrete values we used to say, no, we discrete values. So continuous means it is a running values. So you can see. So how we can convert the dimension into continuous? That we'll see in the next class. Okay, so this row level reduction and this describe. So still we have in the data source several more options. Another 2 classes will be going. So like how to do a split, custom split, and now I connected to one source. So if I connect to multiple tables, so how I can use this, how I prepare a model. So these are all the things we'll be seeing in next 2 classes maximum. So now I bring in only one table. So what will happen if I bring in 2 tables? So it is automatically associated. So for that, what are all the factors I need to look into? So what are all the factors? Automatically it happens. What from my behalf, what are all the changes I have to do? So these are all the things we'll see in the coming next classes. Okay, so any questions you have?